Have you ever wondered how one of the most recognizable logos in history, the Nike Swoosh, was created? What if I told you it was designed by a student for just $35? Yet today, the same logo represents a $160 billion company. This is the fascinating story of how the Nike logo came to life, the unknown designer behind it, and how this simple mark became a global icon. But before we dive in this incredible design story, let me tell you about the sponsor of today's video. This video is sponsored by myself. I work as a designer for more than 10 years. I worked for startups as a freelance and for big companies like Adobe. If you're a designer and looking for a CV template or a portfolio template, I have both of those available on my website, so check the link in the description. And now let's go back to our design story. To understand the birth of the swoosh, we have to go back to the early 70s. Before Nike became the sportswear giant it is today, it was just a small company called Blue Ribbon Sport, founded by Phil Knight and his track coach, Bill Bowerman. Originally, Blue Ribbon Sport was just a distributor in the USA for a Japanese running shoe company called Onitsuka Tiger, that later became ASICS. But by 1971, Knight understood that if he wanted to take his company to the next level, he had to create his own shoe. And that meant he needed a new brand identity. And that's where our story begins. Enter Caroline Davidson, a graphic design student at Portland University. Davidson was a talented young designer, but she had no idea that she was about to create one of the most iconic symbols in design history. At the time, Phil Knight was teaching an accounting class in Portland State, where he met Davidson. He actually randomly heard her talking about how she needed to make extra cash, and so he offered her some freelance work. And the task was simple: to design a logo for his new shoe company. He asked her to create a logo that would convey movement and speed. Something dynamic that would look fast even when standing still. Davidson started sketching ideas, experimenting with different designs inspired by wings, speed, and motion. And after multiple iterations, she landed on something simple, a check mark that we call now the swoosh. She actually drew inspiration from Nike, the Greek goddess of victory, symbolizing triumph and forward motion. But the crazy thing is that when she presented it to Phil Knight, his reaction was actually underwhelming. "I don't love it, but maybe it will grow on me," that's what he said. Now, here's where things get crazy. Caroline Davidson was paid just $35 for this logo. Can you believe it? One of the most iconic logos in design history was paid just $35. But to be fair, Nike was not a massive company at the time. Knight and his team was taking a massive risk by launching their own shoe line, and money was tight. Davidson's design, the swoosh, went on the first batch of sneakers in 1972, marking the birth of Nike as an independent brand. Nike's early years were filled with challenges, but the swoosh started gaining recognition, especially with the endorsement of elite athletes. And by the late 70s, Nike was outpacing Adidas and Puma in the running shoe market. And then came the legend Michael Jordan in the 80s. That's when the swoosh became more than a logo. It became a cultural phenomenon. Okay, now this is the heartwarming part of the story. Nike never forgot Caroline Davidson's contribution. So in 1983, when Nike was reaching new heights, they invited her to a special event, and Phil Knight thanked her personally for her work. And as a sign of appreciation, she got offered a diamond ring in the shape of the swoosh, as well as some Nike stocks. Oh, the stocks, in case you're wondering, is worth millions today. The Nike swoosh is now one of the most powerful symbols in design history. It represents victory, speed, and innovation. Just as Davidson envisioned. From Michael Jordan to Serena Williams, from Olympic stadiums to streetwear culture, it's everywhere. But I think that the lesson we can all get from this story is that great design doesn't have to be complicated. It has to be meaningful. So, the next time you see that little check mark on a pair of sneakers, remember, it all started with a $35 design made by a student, and then it became a global icon. So what do you think? Should Nike have paid Caroline Davidsons more from the start? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this design story, like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps out a ton. And remember, if you're a designer looking for a portfolio template or for a CV template, I got it all in the description. Check the link to my website. It was Matt. Have a nice one. Bye.